I've been shocked and annoyed by the organic foods. The price spread between conventional and organic foods is just outrageous. Today I bought some almonds at my grocery. The ordinary almonds are $2.99 a pound. The organic almonds are $7.45 a pound. That's after almost 2.5. You get similar things in other foods. My question is eating organic foods cost effective in all cases, or are there cases where it's critical to eat organic, and are other cases where other types of foods where it's less critical?
Let's both answer that.
I would say, first of all, that it is unquestionably preferable to consume organic foods, but not always possible for not just financial reasons, but availability. And there are certain locations on this planet where if you live there and you did restrict yourself exclusively to organic, that your variety of foods would be too insufficient to meet your nutritional needs. There are some places in England where that is certainly the case. We can't get or don't get that range of organic produce, so if we were to narrow it down, all we'd eat would be apples in some places. I'm not trying to disrespect the glorious apple. It has its limitations. So firstly, I would say one has to consider one's location as well as one's purse. Certainly some foods are more subject to extensive use of pesticides than others. Bear in mind too that apart from the organic issue itself as relates to pesticides, there's a very real issue to do with genetic engineering as well. Papayas come very high on the list of those fruits that have been affected by genetic engineering, even to such a degree that in certain places you cannot get papaya that are not genetically interfered with. There are certain foods such as strawberries, I would say apples and also grapes, which are liable to be very heavily saturated in pesticides and other such things. Where you are eating the entire food, as opposed to, say, a banana where you remove the skin, the use of pesticides becomes magnified in its significance and importance. I would be much more cautious of consuming a non-organic grape than I would be of consuming a non-organic banana, because to some degree, some of the chemicals used are going to end up in the fruit, but there's other pesticides and so forth that are used which will remain simply on the outer casing of that fruit. So yes, I would say there are some definitely to be more concerned about than others. It's also a question too of what water is used to irrigate the places where these things are grown. It may be in many cases that although pesticides and so forth aren't being used directly on the crops, that the water that is used to irrigate the plantations is so toxic that that in itself has issues and problems. So it is a complex subject. My advice is buy organic whenever you can afford it and you can find it. If you can't afford it or you can't find it, then have it non-organic as a second choice and be selective.
It's really a perfect answer and totally complete of its own. I would put in other issues. The question about is it always cost effective to buy organic has to be considered from the standpoint of your entire life, or perhaps the entire human existence on the planet. Cost effective for you, cost effective for your grandkids. There are many considerations here. How expensive is it to be sick? When we know that herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, rodenticides, fungicides, fries on the side, all of these things tend to result in serious impairment. No one is promoting the concept that anything ending in CIDE is good for you, that fungicide improves your sex life, or that herbicides improve your attention span, or that insecticides will make your kids smarter in school. You know, the onus of responsibility is certainly on the people putting these things on our food, rather than health seekers being put on the defensive. Prove to us that organic is better. I don't think that's the way it's designed to be. This is a twist of the tables, a real turn of the tables that should never have happened. I know, in fact, that in England, and certainly many times here in the States, we can buy organic food at a lower cost than the commercial product. We bought kiwi in England that was a full $1.50 lower for 3 kiwis than the commercial variety. The organic ones were cheaper, and sometimes organic is much cheaper. Like gamblers who tell you about their wins, but they don't tell you about their losses. We complain about the high cost when we find it, and not so much about the low cost deals when we find those. Nevertheless, demand creates supply, and it is never the other way around. If you would like to see the cost of organic produce go down, you must buy organic produce, you vote with your dollar. And you vote with your dollar for organic produce. You send a message to the grocer that he can sell more organic produce. He sends a message to the farmer that he can make money growing organic produce. Every single time that we buy commercial variety produce, and we're at times forced to still, but every time we do so, we send a message to the produce manager that he can make money selling commercial produce, and he tells the farmer, you can make money. We don't care if the lettuce has DDT on it as long as it's crisp, to quote Gracie Slick. And this message is a dangerous message. It's a very expensive message that will cost us for generations. We're opening Pandora's box out onto the crops, and in many cases it is unrecallable. In the case of genetic engineering and in many of the toxins that we're laying down on the field, it is unrecallable. We can't undo this damage. It's going to be extremely expensive damage. So I vote for organic as strongly as I vote for raw.